Welcome to Live, Love, Engage, the podcast where we share practical advice from a spiritual perspective on how to create a life and business with more impact, influence, and income. I am your host, Gloria Grace Rand, the insightful copywriter and founder of the Love Method. My mission is to help you stop doubting yourself so you can live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically. Namaste. Hello. I am Gloria Grace Rand coming to you live today on my personal Facebook, my LinkedIn account, and YouTube, which is at Gloria Grace Rand. So welcome those of you who are catching this live. And also, I would love to welcome those of you who are listening to the replay. Your favorite podcast platform, whether that's Apple or iHeartRadio, Pandora, all those lovely places. So I am so glad that you are with us here today. And for those of you who are watching, you'll notice, you may or may not notice, because that's right, I don't bring a guest in right away. But today is my solo episode. This is what I'm starting to do now. Every other week, I'm doing a solo episode. And today, we're going to be talking about how you can easily solve a problem that's really frustrating you. And I wanted to share with you a story about how I was able to do this last week. And then I'm going to really break it down for you on how I came up with this method and how you can actually implement this in your own life. So let me set the stage for you. So last week, I was participating in a Facebook challenge. I believe it was called Rock Your Virtual Stage, and it was hosted by Sage Levine. It was a really great challenge. I highly recommend it. If you are interested, she's got a wonderful Facebook group called, I think, Rocking Sisterhood or something like that. Google it. You'll find it. Anyway, so as part of the challenge, we were working on our messaging, and on day 3, we were tasked with our homework was to come up with a talk title, and it ideally would be in line with the message that we're trying to present to the world. So I am coming up with these variations, and one of the things she recommends is that one of the things to incorporate in a title is a number. You've probably seen this yourself, like 3 ways to do something, 5 ways to do something. So I was doing that. I was writing things down and trying all these different permutations of what I wanted to talk about. Nothing felt right. It was just really frustrating, especially because, okay, my profession, I'm a copywriter. And I have little trouble generally writing for clients. I'm really great. I'm blessed with this ability to be able to tune into my client's voice, be able to come up with things for them. But to do it for myself, sometimes it's a challenge. So I was feeling very frustrated because nothing sounded right. And I was going through the Facebook group and I'm seeing all these people come up with these wonderful talk titles. And I'm like, why can I not do this for myself? So finally, literally, this is what I did. I threw my head back and I went, okay, my writing angels, I need a talk title. I need a talk title. I give up. I surrender. I can't come up with this. I need your help. I swear it must have been 30 seconds later. Not much more than that, and maybe even less, that suddenly, boom, it's like that light bulb goes off over your head. You see in comic strips. Boom, this light came out and it said, "Healing the broken child within. 4 ways to love yourself as God loves you." And I went, well, that's a heck of a lot better than what I had before. I can work with this. And that's how I have been able to do things like this. Is there's a couple things I want to break down for you right here because it's I know people talk about praying to God and all of this. Well, actually, I'm gonna show you, and I'll tell you for those of you who are listening on the audio, where I got this idea from. So, you notice that if you were paying attention, I said, "Okay, writing angels, my writing angels, I need your help." Well, a dear friend of mine, a former coach of mine, a speaking coach of mine, Amanda Rose Igo, who I've actually had on this podcast early on, back in 2019, I think. She recommended an excellent book to me, and it's by Gene Slatter, and it's called Hiring the Heavens, a practical guide to developing working relationships with the spirits of creation. And her main premise in this book is that, oh, in fact, I can probably read to you a little bit here from the back. It says, whether you realize it or not, you play a part in the divine plan of creation. And once you recognize this, you gain access to the immense power in the universe. And so when you engage the right celestial helpers, anything becomes possible. And and her thing is that it doesn't matter if it's, big or small. The key point, and this is something that I found, is that you have to ask. Number 1, that's so important is you have to ask. And then number 2, now this is the key part really right here, is that you then let go. You let go, let God, source, universe, whatever you believe, maybe even if it's just your higher self, but you just surrender and say, "Okay, you know what? I'm giving it up to you." And then just let it go and, do something else. I In fact, you don't even have to necessarily be dealing with this, whatever it was, your problem, but just go do something else, and inevitably, the answer will come to you. Now, I first tested this out years ago. When I first read this book, one of the things, in fact, she even talks about in the book is when you're looking for a parking space in a parking lot and to just ask for your parking angels to free up a spot. And I tell you, I rarely have to look for a spot anymore. It's like I don't even have to ask anymore. They just like, "Oh, Gloria's looking for a parking space. Okay, here's one close to the door." And it's cool. And I also had also another time is my son needed something for actually, I think he was looking for something for his girlfriend or maybe a present or something. And I was just he was frustrated because he was not able to find it. And he'd gone to different stores. And I just said, okay, you know what? Angels, I need your help. My son needs this. I need help finding it. And I just walked into the store, went to where it was, and boop, there it was. Exactly what he needed. So that's one of the things that I really love is just knowing that there is help available to us. And one of the things I like to do is part of my spiritual practice is reading the daily word. So each day, Unity's daily word publication focuses on a different word. And so they didn't deal with asking for help today. So I searched and I found a really great reading I want to share with you. It's from December 13th, 2012, as a matter of fact. And the affirmation is I am creative by nature. I ask, and it is given. And then it says here in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Humans, made in the image and likeness of God, are creative by nature. Our thoughts call forth into being that which we hold in mind. I am an imaginative being, and as I ask for the desire of my heart, it is given. Every thought has creative power and potential. I ask, focus my attention on God within, know that it is so, and let it go. See, just what I was talking about. Considering it done in the mind of God, I look forward with faith. If I find myself worrying or looking back, I ask a trusted prayer partner to join me in seeing the fulfillment of my desire. I am grateful for God's creative process and for answered prayer. I ask, and it is given. And then they also have a scripture reading, they always do too. And this is from Matthew 18, verse 19. Truly, I tell you, if two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by my Father in heaven. So I thought that was good. And this is something that I have talked about in my book, Live, Love, Engage, about being open, being open to receive. And that's what I'm talking about here is you ask and then you let go and let God. And then you just open your heart to receive and let your heart speak to you. And here's something that you may or may not know, but the heart is really like a mini brain, actually. My stomach is growling. I hope it's not being picked up on the my microphone today. It's pretty funny. But I've got a chapter in my book, and it's called Opening Your Heart Mind. And I think one of the things I had to learn to do was to open my heart to receive new ideas. And see, and that's really what I'm talking about here. It's not just opening our brains, but it's opening our heart to our higher self and to that inner wisdom within, and to be able to receive these messages. And because there are lots of expressions you've probably heard, like I've had a change of heart, which really means I've had a change of mind, or you know it in your heart of hearts, or to follow your heart. But even if you don't believe in God or a higher self, scientists are now aware that the heart has its own little brain, which communicates with the brain in our head, as well as other organs of the body. And I put in here in this book, because I was doing some research, I said, J. Andrew Armour, MD, PhD of the University of Montreal, led a team of scientists studying the relationship between the heart and the brain, found that the heart contains about 40,000 specialized neurons or sensory neurites, which form a connection network within the heart, similar to what is found in the brain. And Greg Braden, who you may or may not have heard of, he's a best-selling author. He's also a pioneer in bridging science with spirituality. He has said that the heart's brain converts emotions into the electrical language of the nervous system so that its messages make sense to the brain. And this is another point I want to make to you, is the importance of emotions in asking and receiving these creative messages, because as I said, I was just like so frustrated, so my emotions were stirring up, and I just was like, you know, asking, writing angels, help me. And I said it out loud in the house. And so it was with emotion that I was doing this. And that, I believe, is what opened up that channel for this message to come through for me, to help me. So if this resonates with you today in any way, I hope you'll try it out when you've got nothing to lose, right? If you have a problem, ask your angels for help, or your higher power, and remember, ask and then let go, and just don't stress over it. Just allow it to flow through to you. And if you also have perhaps some struggle with that still, maybe you do it a few times and it's not working, there could be some other stuff going on. So let's talk. I would love to support you and see if I can help you to get unstuck. So a great way to do that is to go to engagewithgloria.com, and that has a direct link to my calendar where you can set up an appointment to chat with me. So I would love for you to do that. I'm here and available at any time to, well, not any time, but you know what I mean. I'm here and willing to help you out. So that's one thing that I've done to help me in getting unstuck. Another tool that I would like to share with you before we end today's podcast is a wonderful spiritual tool that I have been using now for quite some time to really help me to get unstuck, to help me to be in closer touch with my higher self. And it is something called light language. And I shared this a couple of weeks ago, an example of that on the podcast. And I want to be able to do this. This is my gift to you to help you. And what I will say for those of you who may not know, again, what language is, essentially it's a way of communicating to your soul. And people do share light language in a variety of different ways. They can speak it, sing it, write it, all sorts of different things. So I speak it and sing it. That's how I am able to share this. And it people who hear it often say that they feel very relaxed and much less stressed, and they it feels like a load is lightened off of you. And don't we all want that? Some days, don't we really just want to be able to be more in flow and to have less stress? So, two things I want to let you know is number one, if you are listening to this on the replay, for instance, or if you are somewhere listening to this where you are operating heavy machinery, I would recommend that, if you're driving a car, for instance, that you come back to this later, someplace where you can sit down and just relax, close your eyes, and just allow the light language to speak to your soul, to speak to your heart. And what I will ask you to, and what I'm going to do is to set the intention that what I'm going to share with you in a moment will help you to move forward in the direction of your dreams. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Henry David Thoreau quote, but I love this. He said, "If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with a success unexpected in common hours." So that is my intention for you today, that this will help you to move confidently in the direction of your dreams so that you can meet with success today and every day. So again, I ask you, if you're listening to this, if you want to pause it and come back to it, and just come back to it where you can have a chance to just sit and listen with your eyes closed. And again, set the intention that to listen with an open heart, to listen with an open mind, and just allow uh, this to move through you today. And hopefully it will help release something that is stuck inside of you. Anuki soyachi soyanoki sayanoke anoke etsahi anokia osonokoi sonaya onokia hase anoke okoi sono sono ye ka sono hi ha hakai sono kayato se sonya ki onna ke sono ye kore oke yane ko osona no ki ati su ana e ato kunakia e kane sono ki okayana sohu わえかそのきおそなきやおたなこきちゃしょたかぺらえこにおのこちちゃちょりおまんきかえかりおとこしかなきがおとくりぱしくりやたかe kaliato shikaria no kuachita, e ka i shano no kre papa, e ka shato koriata kia, e kaliato kukashi nanda giga no koriata shikaya, e kaliato kuka ninja shikaniata ka, e ko kukania shikari, kariato shikari papa, e shakoto kurihan na kikani shak, e kaliato koriata, kikariato shikaria no ku, e kaliata kahea hea no koria papa, e shakariato kriata ta shikariato ku, e kariata Hisokoniama. Heka. Mm. Blessed be. Thank you. Thank you for watching today. Thank you for listening, whether you're watching live on social media or listening on your favorite podcast platform. I'm so glad that you're here today. And if you got some value out of this particular episode, please share it with your friends. And until next time, I am Gloria Grace Rand, encouraging all of you to go out today and live fully, love deeply, and engage authentically.